We just wrapped the story Blast from the Past, which is actually made up of 2 story submissions, one that's a little bit shorter and then one that's like medium length. Let me read them both to you. Per usual, I will not be looking at the camera because I'll be reading from my laptop. Here's the shorter one. My ex nearly ruined my wedding and was literally stalking my fiance and I for no reason, probably because he's crazy. I changed names and a little bit of the scenario, so please feel free to use. 10 years ago, my fiance and I were living our life carefree and we moved back to Georgia after living in Louisiana for 4 years. It wasn't until one day my fiance came home from the bar with a black eye that I was concerned anything was up. He said some random guy came up to him, asked him his first and last name, and he said, "Yeah, that's me." He just got punched square in the face, knocked off his bar stool, and all of the commotion, the man ran out. It was out of nowhere, and he had not been interacting with this guy at all. He was actually sitting at a table behind him and his friends. He fled the scene when nobody was looking, and nobody followed after him. But everyone was very confused. Who and why did this happen? About 2 weeks later, my husband and I went to dinner, and my husband starts whispering to me and telling me that the guy that punched him was here at the restaurant. He tried nonchalantly explaining what the guy was wearing, and I started to look around. He was describing exactly what my ex-boyfriend from high school was wearing. I knew that because in that exact moment of him explaining, I had caught eyes with him at the bar. He immediately got up and tried to leave the bar. I said, "OMG, that's my old boyfriend. He is the one that punched you at the bar the other week?" And it all started to add up. I had only dated this man for 3 months when I was 17 years old. He was very possessive, and mainly that was the reason I broke up with him. After the breakup, I went no contact with him and blocked him on my social medias. Apparently, my parents had shared on their Facebook about my move back to town, and he started stalking me and my fiance from that moment. It made sense why I always felt like I was being watched, even when I was at the grocery store heading to and from work. More came after he was confronted. I tried to report it to the police, but of course they brushed it off as non-threatening and suggested that I stop leading him on. He even tried to come to my wedding. My brother saw him and stopped him in the parking lot by punching him, then proceeded to call the cops. And that's when they finally took action and took everything seriously. We have not heard from him since, thank God. I ended up filing a restraining order, and I think he got put in jail for something more serious. Not my problem to deal with anymore. Okay, so that was the short story that was kind of intertwined, and then here's the larger one. I have a story that you could potentially use for your TikTok. It happened to me in 2018, 2019 when I was about to get married to my now husband. Prior to my wedding in August of 2019, I had reconnected with some of my college friends, and through them, my ex-boyfriend. I had lost touch with most of them for over 20 years for a number of reasons, but mostly because of the fact that I attended an SEC school for sports, which was originally from a northern state. After leaving college, I had gone home for law school, while most of my girlfriends from college had gotten married, etc., so we just naturally drifted apart. They were busy getting married and having kids, and I was busy writing the bar exam and trying to move up the corporate world. No criticism, just a different life path at the time. My ex from college was someone I cared for quite a lot, but it was a young love, puppy love sort of thing. Nothing too serious, at least not for me. Let's call him Darren for the story. Darren and I met because he was on the football team and I was on the dance team at our university. He was a very big dude, 6'7" and over 280 pounds. This part is important. We dated for over a year when I decided to leave to go north for school and essentially ghosted him. He begged me to stay, but I got scared and I left without saying goodbye. I just left him a sort of Dear John letter. It's not something I'm proud of, but it happened. He later dated someone else from our circle of friends and ended up marrying her. Prior to getting married, my friends decided to invite me down to Georgia for a reunion and bachelorette of sorts. A party was held, and Darren, whom I hadn't seen in years but who was recently divorced, was invited. We spent a lot of time at the party chatting and reconnecting. It was all very sweet and innocent to me. During the party, however, Darren got very drunk and revealed to me that he was really hurt by my sudden departure in college and told me that he never stopped loving me. He then begged me not to get married so he could give our relationship another try. I laughed it off because he was very intoxicated, and given his recent divorce, probably quite lonely. And I didn't think much of it. The next day he seemed embarrassed and we didn't talk about what he said. I flew home a few days after that. Only a couple of my college friends could make the wedding, and as the time grew near, Darren began to blow up my phone with notes and messages reminiscing about the good old college days. Once again, I didn't think anything of it, but I should have known better. The day of the wedding arrives, and as I'm about to walk down the aisle, my wedding planner rushes over to me and tells me that there is a very large man at the door demanding to be let in and to speak to me, claiming it's super urgent. I was confused as all of my close friends were seated down as guests and I couldn't imagine who it could be. And I could hear a lot of loud shouting outside of the doors. Lo and behold, Darren had driven over 16 hours from his home state of Massachusetts, where my wedding was taking place, to try to stop the wedding. He pushed his way in and was demanding to see me. My dad flipped out and basically threw him out. Imagine a 5'9", 180-pound man kicking out a large linebacker type. It was apparently quite the sight. Although I did walk down the aisle and I got married without any further issues, everyone knew that someone had tried to stop the wedding, and that news spread like wildfire. It put a bit of a cloud over what was supposed to be a very happy day, and even my husband didn't know what to think. Darren left in a huff and went home. He later apologized, but I haven't really spoken to him since. Sadly, things became awkward with my college friends, as their husbands were friends with Darren, and some felt that I had led him on by being nice and friendly at the party. I thought I was simply being nice and didn't realize how he felt about me. All of his friends back home later found out what he did, and they were super embarrassed about it for a while. That is my story and how I became the girl whose ex tried to stop her wedding. I'm probably mentioned in a Reddit post out there. Hubs and I have an amazing marriage, and we now live in Toronto. My husband is Canadian, and we moved there in 2020. Last I heard from Darren, he remarried again in 2022. I hope this one is fun for you. So that was it. Those were the two stories that I combined together to create the storyline Blast from the Past. I hope you like that one. And P.S. Don't be a crazy ex. Thank you for calling ABC Venue. This is Kate. How can I help you? Hi, Kate. I'm so glad that you finally answered the phone. I've been calling all day, and nobody seems to know how to answer a phone at your venue. Apologies on not answering the phone. We have a wedding today, so we are up and moving around the venue all day. It just so happens that I was printing something in the office when you called. What can I assist you with? Well, yes, I'm very aware that you have a wedding today. That's actually what I'm calling about. Okay, fabulous. What can I help you with about the wedding? Our flight got delayed, and I am the great aunt of the bride. And I just wanted to call you and let you know. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting us know. What time should we expect your arrival? We were supposed to arrive around 4, and then it's about a 30-minute drive, so we were going to get in at 4:30. But now we do not land until 5:30, so we are not going to arrive until around 6:15. Okay, well, when you arrive, feel free to come on in. If you arrive after dinner has started, I will go ahead and help you guys find your seats. Not a big deal. No, you're not understanding. I'm calling you about our delayed flight because I'm going to need you to delay the start of the wedding until we get there. Oh, you wanted me to delay the wedding? The wedding is supposed to start at 4:30 and we'll be starting at 4:30. No, it's not that hard. Just delay it for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I need to be there. We're not going to delay the wedding for 2 guests. If the couple want it delayed, they can let me know. Well, I tried calling them and nobody's answering. I'm now the maid of honor in my best friend of a decade's wedding. Congratulations. What are my responsibilities, especially financial ones? Thanks so much for any advice or tips you can offer. Now, I've said this on my page 100 times. The number one job of the maid of honor is to offer support and encouragement to the bride. This can be done in various ways. Sometimes they want to lean on you for decision making or have you a part of the planning process. Other times, they just need emotional support, hyping up on the day of, standing next to them while they're getting married. In America, a lot of maid of honor take on the role of organizing the other bridesmaids. That means making sure that everybody has the correct information, starting the group chat, helping and planning the bachelorette and the bridal shower. When it comes to finances, there technically are none. However, a lot of maid of honor monetarily contribute towards the bridal shower and towards the bachelorette. They may offer to do a little extra, coming early to help set up for the shower or for the wedding. At the end of the day, your number one role is to make sure the bride is relaxed and enjoying, that you're there in that moment too. Hillary, what is this? Do you mind explaining this to me? Because I nearly had a heart attack when I opened the mail this morning. Hi, Mom. Nice to see you. That thing you're holding in your hands, that is my wedding invitation. I thought that was pretty clear by what was written on the piece of paper. Don't be smart with me. I thought we weren't doing this whole wedding thing. That's what we had decided on. No, Mother, you suggested that we skip the wedding, but Ian and I want to have one. Hence the wedding invitation. No. We talked about this. Throwing a wedding is a big waste of time, money, and energy. Especially when marriage is such a sham. You know, it's just a countdown until divorce. You agreed. You said you weren't going to do all of this. Mother, you're projecting your own feelings about your own marriage onto Ian and I's love and marriage. We decided that we are throwing a wedding. You know, honey, you really need to think about this. This is a really big decision. And I'm not sure if Ian's the one for you. I'm just not. I'm sorry you feel that way, Mom. We've been dating for 8 years. We've lived together for 3 of those years. And we've been engaged now for 1.5 years. You're going to have to come to terms that Ian is the one for me. If he's the one for you, then why did you guys wait so long to throw a wedding? Because we're paying for it ourselves and weddings are expensive. I told you this. I just really don't see the whole point of this. He's going to knock you up and leave you all alone to raise 4 kids all alone. I think this is a very dumb decision. You're projecting again, Mom. Maybe you don't need the invitation. Back to my series, absolutely not. I suggest things you should absolutely not be doing when you're planning your wedding. Let's get into today's. The couple was my husband's cousin and decided to scent their wedding. I had no clue this was a thing. They had these very strong scented candles in every nook and cranny at the venue. It was overwhelming, giving me and several others headaches. I couldn't bear to spend time in that room without feeling ill, so I spent the majority of my night out on the patio. I blew out a couple purposefully, but the staff kept relighting them. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no problem with scenting your wedding, but you do not put multiple candles, I'm assuming like one on each table or multiple on each table, that are scented and light them, because the scent and the fumes from those candles can set off people's allergies. It can be overwhelming for your guests and cause headaches, migraines, other things. You have to be mindful. Use the scent sparingly. Maybe you have a scented candle at the entrance and maybe one other candle in the room. We aren't going to douse everyone in the scent and make it uncomfortable for everybody. Come on now.